you know how much you should be charging for tarot readings? So this is a question that I kind of had when I first started out, and I didn't have a lot of guidance. I had never done this before. It was just this whole new weird, crazy thing, and I wasn't really sure what to do. So I'm going to tell you today kind of a little bit about my journey and some of the things that have worked well for me with my pricing. And if you like it, you can do exactly what I did. And if you like pieces of it, you can do pieces of it. And if you think it's crap, then you do whatever you want to do, right? But I really kind of, my intention here is just to kind of give you kind of a baseline and share some of my personal examples with you that might be helpful for you on your journey, right? So when I first started, what I will say is that I used to do readings based off of donation. And the reason that I did that was because I was still learning. I had not gotten enough validation from my readings yet where I felt like I had really built my confidence in that area. I was getting a lot of stuff, but I wasn't sure if it was right or not. It was just kind of coming out of me, right? And so that worked for a while. I would do donations, or sometimes I would maybe trade a service, which is another option that you have as well. If you would, want to trade like a reading for an energy session or something, right? That's an option. So how did I know when I was done reading off of donations, right? Because I think that's probably the next reasonable question that you ask. Well, I was getting really frustrated and I was exhausted. And the reason is that I was doing so many more readings that had sort of turned into like a little side job, right? It was more than just a once in a while here or there. It was becoming something that was more consistent. So I felt really taken advantage of kind of a little bit with my time because I was doing all this work and I felt like I wasn't getting anything back. Like it just didn't seem like it was balanced. So for me at that point, that's how I knew that I needed to start charging for my readings. So the next question is, okay, well, how do you do that? How do you charge? Where do you start? So some people you'll see they'll charge you like $15 for a 30-minute reading, and some people will charge you $150. So you have to do what feels right for you, for the ability that you feel like you have and where you're at. I also think confidence level has a lot to do with that too. And I'll talk about that a little bit later as well. But for me, what I started out doing is I decided, well, for half an hour, I'm going to charge $45. And if I'm going to do 45 minutes, I'm going to charge $55. And if I do an hour, I'm going to charge $65. And I felt that that was kind of fair because, the way I thought about it, it's like, okay, well, a woman would go and spend a half an hour or so getting a pedicure and it would be like maybe like $40, right? $45. You would go and get your hair cut and blown out and did, whatever, and it would probably be like $65. So I felt like it was kind of a comparable price range for kind of what I was doing, right? So that's where I started off. And then I got to the point too where it sort of felt like the next level for me was really difficult because I wanted to make sure I could see as many people as I could get in that needed help. My fear was that I was not going to be able to help everybody that needed me if I raised my prices. But what I realized was one, I was selling myself short because after a certain point of charging those prices, during that time, my skill set really ratcheted itself up. I had all these other things. And in addition to just reading cards for people, I was giving people magical advice, spiritual advice. I was helping them through shadow work. I was doing all these other things that were so much more than I was originally offering, yet I had not given myself a raise to compensate for that. And once again, part of the reason I had to rethink my pricing strategy is because I was feeling very exhausted and worn out. Because what happened was I was holding more space. I was doing heavier work, right? And so the payment had not gone up to my skill level and what I was offering. And I was once again feeling taken advantage of. And like I wasn't being compensated for all my time because I would get off the phone or off the Zoom calls and I would be just exhausted, like just drained, from this. It's a lot of work to read cards and hold space for people and, really help them without projecting anything or trying to tell people what to do. Like it can be a lot, especially when people are coming to you with, hey, do I have cancer again? Or I'm having this really, estrangement with my kids and I don't want to say or do the wrong thing. Suicide stuff comes up for people who are dealing with family members who have passed. There can be really heavy things that happen. And they don't always happen at the beginning of your career. Sometimes it takes a while when spirit knows that you can handle it. It unleashes the floodgates. So for me, I was kind of caught in this weird place where I was kind of feeling exhausted. I wasn't sure why. And also too, I think my confidence level was not where it should be. I didn't realize what I was actually providing for people and how much more I was giving. And so I had, some conversations with a good friend of mine, and they had actually pointed it out. And they're like, yeah, like what you are doing is a lot. And it's no wonder that you feel that way. You should really consider raising your prices. And I'm not sure what happened, but at a certain, it took me a little bit, but at a certain point I was like, yeah, no, I processed all of that. And I was like, yeah, I really should be charging more. And so I raised my prices again to what they are now on my website. And I feel like that is, for me, that's a good place to be. I guess technically probably I could be charging more, but also too, I also don't want to eliminate anybody who needs to see me, right? So for me, it's a balance of being compensated for the time and energy that I put out during my readings and the things that I offer within my readings, and still being able to help people and make it in a range where it's affordable. That's kind of how I kind of balance things out. Some people are comfortable charging a whole lot more, and that's your prerogative. You can charge whatever you want. They are your rates, right? But I also think you have to consider your skill level. Sometimes too, it's also considering, your client level too. If you don't have very many clients and you automatically price them out of their market by raising your prices like 75%, you're going to have nobody to read for either. So sometimes it's good to do things gradual and let yourself build. Use your intuition to help guide you, to let you know when you want to be raising prices. And I think that is something that will help you as well. I wouldn't necessarily recommend looking around and seeing what everyone else is doing, because you're not everyone else. And you have to do what feels right for you. And if you try to inherently take on somebody else's structure that is too much, right? Like if you're on social media looking around at everybody's prices, trying to figure out, everyone has a different skill level, everyone has something different. So you've got to figure out what works for you. But really listen to yourself and try to match up with what you're providing with the price range that you are putting out there. So I hope that was helpful. If you guys have any questions, or you want to kind of work with me, or you want to talk about prices, or if you are trying to build your business as a tarot reader and you want some help, I do offer that in coaching sessions as well. I've helped a lot of people really kind of understand how to kind of move through things, how to set stuff up, how to navigate certain problems, things to be aware of, really how to prepare yourself to be a good tarot reader for people. So if that's something that you want help with, I would love to do that with you. It's super fun for me to get people up and running. So until next time, I think that's all that I've got. Happy pricing, and I will see you guys next time.